Good morning and welcome to Fort Mill Student Ministries. I'm Joe Pacheco and this is the immaculate Jamie Pacheco.
Good morning.
And we're here to bring you our,
Connect Hour.
that thing.
Fort Mill Church of God Student Ministries.
This is week 3 that we're going into now. And we're going to stay on path with our lesson, right? And we've been talking the last 2 weeks about godly friendships that never leave you alone and what that looks like, right? So hopefully everyone's having a great start to their Sunday morning, and
Getting ready for school.
some people are getting ready for school. We do definitely miss you guys. Wish that we could actually see you, hug your necks, and continue on with that. But we'll jump right into it today. You will go ahead? No,
Oh.
be my guest.
Oh, cool. Thanks. So, have you ever been afraid of being alone? I love team games because no matter what happens, you and your team are in it together. There is no chance you're going to be left alone as the one and only loser. That's pretty good news for people like me who tend to lose a lot. That's why you had me do that part. Sometimes I'm still terrified of being the only one. But have you ever been afraid of being alone? And when and what happened? We've been talking about how great friendships should be lifelines when we need help. Just like a safety net around a trampoline, great friends should be there when you bounce, when you fall, when you can't get back on your feet, but when you need someone to laugh or cry with. But there are going to be times when you feel like you're jumping with no net, no group of friends to keep you safe or secure. Sometimes you're going to feel alone, and that can be really scary.
But a normal thing. We have been afraid, or have you ever been afraid of being alone? I know I have. What are some lonely situations you or someone you know have experienced? Why do you think we avoid getting involved in situations like those? In each situation, what is something brave a friend could do to make sure no one feels alone?
If you've ever visited the ocean, you know the beach experience can change at any minute. Winds, air, temperature, cold, clouds, ripped currents, rain, a lot can happen and can happen quickly near the ocean.
She said cold because I'm cheap and we usually visit the beach during winter months when it's absolutely cheapest.
We gotta wear winter pajamas.
Still get the beach. One day the wind might be low and swimming is easy, but the very next day there might be a wind and rain and you're not sure about your swimming abilities anymore because of how crazy the ocean is. Sometimes rip currents tug at your body from under the surface, pushing you way, way, way far away from the shore. Rip currents are one reason you should never swim in the ocean alone. You just never know when you might get sucked into the rip current and need someone to throw you a lifeline. Life feels like that sometimes. Things can get scary and lonely when they do. You're going to need some security, a group of friends to remind you that it's going to be okay. We go back and we think friends, right? Before I was old enough to make friends, I had stuffed animals. In my case, they weren't stuffed animals. They were actually the wrestling pillows. Look them up. I had the Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man. Oh, yeah, brother. Maybe you did too when you were little. We probably all had some kind of security toy, blanket, or pacifier to keep us safe.
Maybe you still have a security item. You may not talk about it much, and you probably don't carry it around with you as often as you used to. But maybe it matters to you. Maybe just knowing it's in your bag to help you feel less panicky. Life has a lot of ways to make us feel alone, afraid, undone, or nervous. We need a lot of support during these times. If only a teddy bear could always do the trick.
That'd be very simple, wouldn't it? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about how Jesus dealt with that. We're going to use John 11, verses 1 through 16. Jesus was no stranger to loneliness, but he was no stranger to great friends either. In this series, we're looking at very times that Jesus was a friend to someone who needed it. When we're talking about what we can learn from Jesus' example, not only did Jesus show how to be a lifeline to others, but his friends showed how they learned from Jesus' example and returned the favor to each other. All right. So if we go back to John 11, verses 7 through 16, clearly there is a crisis in Lazarus. A much-loved friend of Jesus has died. Jesus wants to go back to that place where he was buried, but his disciples know that going back there is dangerous. The Jews in Judea, confused about who Jesus was and convinced he posed a threat and posed to their position in leadership, they already tried to murder Jesus the last time he was there. So not wanting him to be killed, his disciples were like, Jesus, you don't remember what happened the last time you hung out in Judea? That was really bad for you. But of course, Jesus knew Judea wasn't safe. He's God. Nothing slips his mind, but he had more important things to worry about than his physical safety. He was worried about his friends. Mary and Martha, remember them? And the rest of Jesus' friends who were facing a loss? So Jesus wanted them to be together. He wanted to show his friends how things go when they stick together. One of Jesus' disciples, Thomas, said, "Let's go. If we die, we will die together." I don't necessarily recommend you following your friends to certain death, but Jesus and Thomas showed something really important about friends in this story. When you stick together, you feel less alone. And hey, if Jesus did it for his disciples, don't you think he'd do it for you? If Jesus showed us that he'll never leave his friends alone, don't you think that he'll do the same for you and hold that to be true? There are a lot of moments in life that can make us feel isolated and alone. But we don't have to stay that way. When we're afraid or grieving or alone, Jesus gives us himself, and God gives us each other.
So, what stood out to you from the story that Joe just said about Jesus and his friends? Did anything surprise you, confuse you, or encourage you? For me, what Timothy said kind of reminded me of when my mom would say, "Well, if all your friends dropped off a bridge, would you jump?"
Depends on how deep that water is below.
Oh my gosh. But then it also reminds me of, like, for example, praying in school. That was something that was very passionate in my household. So when it came time to praying around the pole at school, I was all for it. So that made me feel like a whole when I was joining hands with other people. Have you ever done something brave to help someone feel less alone? And have anyone ever done that for you? How can a friendship with God help us when we feel alone? Yep.
There are a lot of facets and a lot of answers to those questions. This is one reason why we miss our group settings, so we can actually share these instances with each other. But answer those questions to yourself, right? We're going to continue in Ephesians 5, chapter 1 and 2. Okay? We've talked about this verse every week, and we're going to talk about it again today. We're supposed to be imitators of God, so we must look closely at the example of Jesus to see how we can do more like him in every area of our life, including friendships. Just like Jesus loved his friends so deeply that he refused to leave them alone when they were afraid and grieving, friends that imitate God never leave each other all alone. Mm-hmm. Jesus modeled both, taught and modeled real friendship and community for us. He gives us life. He didn't live life alone, although he certainly could have. Jesus lived his life in real, authentic relationships. He loved people deeply and well, and when his friends were suffering, he refused to leave them alone, and even when it was dangerous for him. That's what a great friendship does. It it embodies the actions of what Jesus has shown us in those examples. It's what great friends will do for you, and it's what Jesus invites you to do for others. Godly friendships never leave you alone. One day, I'm gonna take this one over. I'm sorry.
I was already doing.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
One day, a group in Canada all dressed up as Batman. That was my Batman impression. I sound just like him. Batman. These people.
You sounded Jamaican. You said Batman.
Batman. I can't get my voice any deeper.
All right, let's go.
These people broke the Guinness World Record for the most amount of people dressed like Batman at the same time. 542 people came or became the Dark Knight together to raise money for others. I so would have been there. There were so many
girl
Batmans. When I think of Batman, I think of a superhero who can do it all. But even Batman probably has his share of lonely days too. I guess sometimes Batman needs another Batman. The next time you're feeling alone, remember that even Batman needs a friendship. Lifeline.
As well sometimes, right?
Yeah.
That's why he had Robin, Nightwing, second Robin, third Robin, Batgirl. Just saying, Justice League, he had lifelines. So just like a lighthouse helps sailors find their way to the shore, or the bat signal helps Batman find his way to the crime scene. The bat signal doesn't help him find his way to the crime scene. It just alerts him that something has happened. He needs to see Commissioner Gordon. But anyway, friends can offer a signal of hope and direction when we feel alone. It takes a lot of courage to send a signal to people around you that you need them. Sometimes it takes practice. Like Jesus modeled for us, godly friends are friends who move closer when they know you need them. They aren't afraid of being nearby when things are difficult. They give the light when things are dark. Godly friendships never leave you all alone because it matters to God that you're never alone.
No matter who you are or where you come from, there are always going to be times that you're lonely. There will be times when you, like Jesus did, need a few more people gathered around you. Your story probably won't end with you raising someone from the dead, but when we stick together, other miraculous things could happen. Your hope could grow. Your needs might be met. Someone could pray for you when you don't have the words. Someone might simply sit with you when you're hurt or in pain. When life feels lonely, it's easy to believe the lie that you're alone, unsupported, and maybe even unworthy of a friendship. That's why God wants to give us a lifeline of community. When you feel lonely, godly friendships remind you that you belong to a community of people who love you, who are fighting for you, and who are ready to die for you when necessary.
Or die with you.
Yes. Wouldn't it be incredible to know that you have friendships like that? People who will never leave you all alone. If you're not sure you have friends like that in your life right now, here's what I would do. First, get along with Jesus. He's offering the same friendship to you that he offered to Lazarus, Mary, and Martha and his disciples. He came to earth to live, die, and live again for you. He has invited you into his family so that you can join. Let him be your first lifeline and love and friendship. Second, tell somebody you feel lonely. Maybe it's an adult in this room, or maybe it's a pair. Let them know that you're struggling, or that you want deeper friendships, or that you feel alone. Or that you could really use a lifeline right now. And if you don't feel lonely right now, if you have a great group of friends, I hope you look around in the room and ask, who can I be Jesus to? Who can I run to when they're feeling lonely?
Who can I run to?
Go. Just go.
If nothing else, guys, remember, be like Timmy. Hey, we're going to go. If we die, we die together, right? You want to be that friend to know that they have your back. Think about how awesome that is to have a friend who knows that, hey, man, things can go bad, but if they go bad, I got you, homie.
I think he wanted to be called Timothy.
Timmy.
I don't see any disciples running around saying, call me Johnny, call me Timmy.
Timmy.
Call me Pete.
Timmy. All right, guys. Who is someone you could help feel less alone? What could you do for them? What's one thing you can do this week to be alone with God, spend time with people who make you feel less alone, and reach out to someone who feels alone? I know with COVID, it's really hard, but
Yes.
I know that people have access to their video games, their chat groups, Meetup, GroupMe, Zoom,
Instagram,
Xbox Live, PlayStation, and you can talk to your friends, right? They're just that close. What's that one that Android users, Duo? You can make a group chat in Duo and talk that way.
or just a simple text message or phone call.
Absolutely. But one thing, just remember this going through the week. Godly friendships never leave us all alone. Stick together. We need each other. Don't ever think that you're too big or too small to have friends that are there for you, or you can be that friend for them. All right, guys, this is the Pacheco family representing Fort Mill Student Ministries and Fort Mill Church of God. And we really wish we were there. And I say we're getting tired of doing these videos, but it's not as impactful when I can't yell at you for not paying attention. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day.
We have to end it. Wait. We'll pretend we got the cups. Come on, put your hand out. It's Joe and Jamie in the morning. Pew!
Save me.